What is going on, everyone? What is going on? I don't know why I said that twice. Welcome back to TTP Sports, and we're going to be here, previewing Phillies, Padres, NLCS. Starts tomorrow night in San Diego, Game 1. I would assume Zack Wheeler is going to be on the mound against Yu Darvish. So there's going to be a lot of things to talk about with this series. Really, no one expected this. Literally, if you go back to the beginning of the postseason, I would bet you that 0% of the people predicting this, outcome with the postseason predicted Padres Phillies in the NLCS. I don't think anyone did. It was kind of a rare occasion. Two 100 plus win teams in the Braves and the Dodgers, also the Mets as well, losing in the wild card round to the Padres. No one would predict that all three of those teams would lose in the National League. No one predicted the Dodgers were going to lose, 110 plus win team. Braves 100 plus win team. A lot of people expected them to steamroll the Phillies. Padres, no one expected them to beat the Mets. No one expected the Padres to beat the Dodgers. And now we're here. Phillies steamroll the Braves, especially in Citizens Bank Park. Padres, they steamroll the Dodgers. And now we got ourselves an NLCS where no one expected. No one expected these two teams to make it this far. And now both of these two teams have a chance to play for the pennant to get to the World Series. They're still, with the ALCS, it's still not set yet because the Guardians and the Yankees, they're going to be playing today, hopefully, with the rain. Because right now, it just started torrential downpouring. So hopefully that's not affecting anything in New York for Game 5 there between the Yankees and the Guardians before, whoever decides they want to play the Astros in the ALCS. So there's a lot of things to talk about with this series. It's a great time in Philadelphia. It definitely is. With last week, everything going on with the NLDS, Phillies, Braves, with the way everything turned out there. You get the Eagles beating the Dallas Cowboys. Flyers are surprisingly 2-0. You get the Sixers starting on Tuesday as well. But, you gotta... It's going to be an interesting series, definitely. Two teams no one expected to get here. Both teams have their strengths. Both teams have their weaknesses. We're going to discuss that. So, if you're looking at the season series between these two teams, Phillies won the season series. They won it 4-3. Padres, I believe, won a series in Philadelphia, while the Phillies won a 4-game series in San Diego. And, of course, that series in San Diego was when Bryce Harper fractured his thumb from Blake Snell. So, maybe there's a little bit of revenge, stuff there for Bryce Harper, going after the guy that, took him out for 2.5 months of the season. And Bryce Harper has been playing like MVP Bryce Harper in these first two series, in the wild card series since Game 2, and then basically every game in the NLDS against the Atlanta Braves. He's been absolutely fantastic. Pitching has been absolutely fantastic. Zack Wheeler's been really good. Aaron Nola's been dominant. Honestly, the bullpen's been really good too. So there's a lot of positive things going with the Phillies right here. Basically, it feels like every single game in that NLDS, and honestly, you can go back to the wild card series. Kind of feels like it's a different person contributing every single game. You get game 4 back in Philadelphia between them and the Braves. Brandon Marsh goes deep. JT Realmuto with the inside the Parker. Game 3, Bryce Harper goes deep. Rhys Hoskins with that epic bat slam. Game 1, basically everyone contributed there. Gene Segura, Nick Castellanos in that game. And then the pitching, Ranger Suarez didn't have his best stuff in the first game, but I expect him to be ready for his next appearance. He's going to have a lot more rest to work with here. Zack Wheeler's been really good in his 2 outings so far. The defense didn't help him in Game 2 against Atlanta, but I don't blame that more. I blame that more on the defense than Zack Wheeler. He was still really dominant. Aaron Nola's been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, especially in Game 3 where the defense wasn't helping him. So, yeah. Aaron Nola's been absolutely fantastic. Jose Alvarado's been really good. Seranthony Dominguez looks like he's finding his stride again, which is huge for this bullpen. Bilotti's been solid in the few outings that he needed to go into. Zach Eflin got into a bit of jams here and there. I don't think Rob Thompson is going to use him as the closer anymore. I think now that's Seranthony's role with the way he's been pitching. So maybe you get Jose Alvarado for the 7th/8th. Same thing with Eflin, 7th/8th inning type of guy, depending on the matchups. And then you got 9th inning with Seranthony Dominguez. And you still got to figure out what's going to be happening with David Robertson. They said that he's going to be throwing some bullpen sessions today to work out that calf, to see if everything is good to go. They were expecting them to be good to go, but we got to basically see how everything goes with these bullpen sessions for David Robertson to see if he's going to be available on the active roster for the NLCS. But most likely, I'm expecting the same type of roster there for everything going on. Basically the same as the NLDS. So I'm not really expecting any major changes to go on. Basically just maybe an addition of David Robertson, and most likely you drop someone from the bullpen. Most likely it would be a Nick Nelson type of guy that gets dropped from the bullpen if David Robertson is put onto the active roster. But yeah, Game 1's tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Game 2 on Wednesday at 4:30. That's basically the only bad timed game, I would assume, this week, because I do think the ALCS starts on Wednesday, so I guess they want to get that in the prime time over the Phillies and the Padres. So basically every time for this series is honestly very solid. Tomorrow, like I said, 8 o'clock, Wednesday, 4:30, and then games 3, 4, and 5 back in Philadelphia this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 7:30 Friday, 7:45 on Saturday, and 2:30 on Sunday. And then games 6 and 7, if necessary, will be back in San Diego, which will be Monday, Tuesday, the 24th, and the 25th, both at 8 o'clock. And it's weird because there's no days off in between games 3 to 7. They are all played in a row, including the traveling. So it's going to be, something interesting there. But I would say the most important thing for this Phillies team, it's basically the same thing as the Braves series. You got to get one win on the road in one of these two games, and you have a great chance, most likely, to get a win in one of these first two games with your two top guys going on the bump. Zack Wheeler, game 1 most likely, and Aaron Nola, game 2 most likely. And then Ranger Schwarber would be the guy to get the first pitch in Philadelphia in game 3. Now, there's still some things to think about when you're going, with the rotation. Noah Syndergaard was the Game 4 starter. He went 3 innings. Basically, that was all that was going to be asked of him. Then you basically went to the bullpen after that. Are we going to, go with a Bailey Falter? Is Noah Syndergaard going to get another knock? I don't expect Kyle Gibson to get any touch of the mound at all this postseason. So basically, you're working with Zack Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, Noah Syndergaard, and maybe a Bailey Falter in the bullpen. Most likely, do you go game 4 with a Noah Syndergaard? Basically the same thing what you did against the Braves in game 4. And then game 5, you go Zack Wheeler on short rest, and you try to go as far as you can with that. Same thing with Aaron Nola in game 6, most likely, because Zack Wheeler would pitch game 1 and game 5. Aaron Nola would pitch game 2 and game 6, and then Ranger Suarez would pitch game 3 and game 7. So there's a lot of things to discuss here. And with the San Diego Padres, from the way it does look for their rotation setup, Yu Darvish is going to be pitching game 1. Then I would assume it's Blake Snell in game 2, Joe Musgrove in game 3, and then who else? Mike Clevenger possibly in game 4, Sean Manaea game 5 if they're going that far with the rotation. Maybe not Sean Manaea. Maybe they just stick with those 4 guys, Darvish, Snell, Musgrove, Clevenger. Maybe they do something like that. So there's a lot of things to discuss on that front. The strengths of the Padres is definitely their pitching staff. They got a strong bullpen. They got a strong starting rotation. They got guys in the lineup right now that are contributing, but overall, the Padres' offense is not that strong. Manny Machado is their best player. They do got a Juan Soto, but overall, he has been struggling. But if you go through some of the Padres roster, Trent Grisham has been absolutely amazing for the Padres basically this entire playoffs. But if you go basically through the roster, like I said, you got Juan Soto in the outfield, Profar, Grisham. And then you got, I think Will Myers is playing first base for them. Manny Machado, probably going to be an MVP candidate this year in the National League. Jake Cronenworth, Kim playing shortstop, Josh Bell. So you're familiar with Juan Soto and Josh Bell coming over from the Nationals. So they're going to be a little bit familiar with you. Then you got Austin Nola, the Nola brothers going in this series. So that's going to be something exciting to see there. A little brother-brother matchup. Jorge Alfaro, former Philly there. Most likely the backup catcher. But then basically, like I said, when you go into that pitching rotation, Clevenger, Darvish, Sean Manaea, Joe Musgrove, Blake Snell. Then you get into their bullpen. Luis Garcia has been solid for them. Josh Hader, their closer, looks like he's finding his stride again after, struggling a little bit basically there right after the trade. So there's a lot of things to think about going into this series. But basically, right now, you have to find a way to win one of these first 2 games in this series. Offense has been riding hot, especially in the last 2 games in Philadelphia. And that's why they love playing at home right now. The way the crowd has been pumping them, backing them up in those 2 games against Atlanta, I expect the Phillies to maybe win every single home game they play. So right now, the expectation is, or the need, you got to win one of these games, these first 2 in San Diego. Can't go down 2-0. Cannot. The Padres fans, they're going to be jumping as well just because it's their first time in the NLCS in a very long time. Same thing for the Phillies. The last time the Phillies were in the NLCS was 2010 when they got eliminated by the San Francisco Giants, who went on to win the World Series. So it's going to be a tough series, definitely, but maybe the matchup favors you more. Maybe it does. Kind of wanted the Padres over the Dodgers just because the Dodgers and everything like that, you never know with them. But still, the Dodgers, they absolutely choked. 110-plus win team. Still don't understand how Dave Martinez is their manager. I don't know why they're constantly retaining him. One of the best made-up lineups, basically, since the 27 Yankees. Lineup basically is filled with all-stars all around. You could basically make a whole all-star team out of their lineup, and they still can't win the first round. So, the Padres proved their best there. Their pitching has been really good. Now the Phillies got to find a way to hit their pitching. And some bats, like for the Padres, like I said, they've been really good too. Trent Grisham has had an amazing postseason. A little bit of power there. Manny Machado's always going to be dangerous. Juan Soto's always going to be dangerous. Your pitching's got to go in there and find a way to shut those guys down. Your pitching did that in the series against Atlanta. They shut a lot of guys down. They shut Dansby Swanson. They shut down Austin Riley. It's basically the same type of scenario. Okay, maybe 2 guys do their thing, but if you shut down the rest of the lineup, you're probably going to be fine. You shut down Riley, you shut down Swanson, you shut down Contreras, you shut down basically the rest of the bottom of their lineup. Basically, the only guys that were doing anything were Acuna, Olsen, and maybe d'Arnaud here and there. So if your pitching goes and does the same exact job that it did against the Braves, you're going to be in a good position. Your defense does need to play better, though. Definitely. Rhys Hoskins at first base needs to be better. Alec Boehm at third needs to be better. So overall, yeah. But if you continue to do the things that you're doing, certain guys in the lineup contributing maybe a different guy every single game. Bryce Harper's still going to do his thing. I would assume JT's still going to do his thing. Kyle Schwarber, it would be nice to see him in this series find a way to wake up a little bit and get that power going. That would be very huge for this lineup. And I do believe he's a guy that's like a swing away from finding his stride. So that's something we got to think about there as well. But if you go basically, Kyle Schwarber leading off, Rhys Hoskins. Rhys started to find a little bit of a stride in the 2 home games in Philadelphia. So maybe that's something to unlock something from him to go on a hot streak. Bryce has been hot basically the entire postseason. He's been the Phillies' best player overall. JT's doing his thing. Castellanos here and there. Alec Boehm here and there. Brandon Marsh here and there. Gene Segura here and there. Stott here and there. So basically everyone in the lineup's doing their little bit of share. I would like to see Kyle Schwarber do a little bit more, though. And I do think he could wake up this series. I do think he could possibly wake up in this series. And that'll be huge for this lineup, and Kyle Schwarber could find a way to wake up. Like, if Kyle Schwarber can go on a little bit of a hot streak, too, with the way that he was in June, imagine how much that carried the team. Imagine if he goes on a hot streak during the playoffs. That'll be insanely huge for this lineup in offense. Lineup right now is clicking on all cylinders, though. Majority. Your pitching is doing the same thing as well. You got to keep doing the same things that you're doing. Find ways to win. Find ways to tack runs on the board. Continue to dominate on the pitching side, especially the starting staff. Zack Wheeler, Aaron Nola do their thing. I want to see Ranger Suarez have a better game than what he had in the first game in Atlanta. I definitely want to see him have a better performance out there. Maybe the postseason jitters are gone. Now he knows what it takes. Got some huge outs, though, in that first game, though, which just didn't last as long as I would like him to. So I want Ranger to have a better game. So it's going to be very interesting. It definitely is going to be a very interesting series, a very exciting series. Who would have thought at this, time of the season that the Phillies would be in the NLCS? Think about it. Like 2+ weeks ago, we're talking about the Phillies getting smacked by the Washington Nationals in a doubleheader in the afternoon tilt, and also losing 10 out of 13. Calling them losers and everything like that. And everything was warranted. Everything was warranted. Who would have thought that clinching that wild card spot would lead to this? No one. Absolutely no one. The Phillies are right now constantly exceeding expectations, and I want to see them continue to exceed expectations. No better time than now. No better time than the present to continue doing what you're doing. The line is there. The line is there for you to find a way. You're underdogs basically the entire postseason. And Philadelphia as a city, they love being underdogs. And you got to continue with that underdog mentality. You've been carrying it through the Braves. You carried it through the Cardinals. Now carry it through the Padres. You're still an underdog against this team, regardless if you won the season series or not. You're still an underdog because you were the worst, the lowest ranking team making the playoffs. No one expected you to get this far. No one expected the Padres to get this far. But continue doing what you're doing. Bring that underdog mentality. Show what Philadelphia is made of for this postseason run. And I can't wait for every second of it, man. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, first pitch. It's perfect. Perfect, man. And hey, I might be going to one of these games back at home. Either game 3, 4, or 5. And I can't wait for that. I want to be in that atmosphere in Citizens Bank Park. I want to see this team in person in the playoffs. I just want to be a part of that atmosphere in Citizens Bank. It's going to be an amazing, fun time overall. I just can't wait for every second of it. It's going to be so fun. We haven't had as much fun watching baseball in so long. And now they're going through this stretch. Like, I know we're thinking about the present right now, too, because that is the most important thing. But think about the future for this team as well. A lot of the guys getting their important reps in the postseason, especially the young guys. Bohm, Stott, even the guys on the bench, Veerling, Marsh, all that stuff. And the pitchers, Aaron Nola is proving a lot in this stretch. Zack Wheeler, Jose Alvarado, Sir Anthony Dominguez. Hell, even Brad Hans looks out of the bullpen. And maybe you get David Robertson back. A lot of things, you got to keep the train rolling. You got to keep it going. Got to keep the grind going. Don't back up. Don't let up. Continue to do what you're doing. Bryce Harper, that means continue playing like the MVP that you've been playing like. And everyone else chips in here and there. That's how this team's working right now. They believe in themselves in that clubhouse. They know they're the underdogs. They trust one another. They believe in one another. And maybe that's the mentality from Rob Thompson. The calm, cool, collected mentality. He believes in his guys. He doesn't change things because he trusts in them to eventually get out of the funk. Maybe that, type of emotion and that type of energy is slipping towards the players. They're starting to believe in themselves. Every time someone gets their number called, whether it's on the bench, whether it's in the lineup, they contribute. He said the same thing about, Rhys Hoskins going into game 3. He said, I think Rhys is close. And what do you think happens? Rhys Hoskins destroys a Spencer Strider fastball down the middle into the left field stands with the most epic bat slam in the world. So, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Because Philadelphia has been deprived of this for a while. For a long time, honestly. I know if you're looking at the other sports, the Eagles won the Super Bowl 2017. Sixers going to the second round consistently. But the hype. We don't get this consistently with all our sports teams. It's usually one team that's successful, and then the other teams are like, eh. But right now, there's a lot of energy surrounding Philadelphia. The hype. The energy with the sports teams. Phillies in the NLCS. Eagles are 6-0. There's some fun around the Flyers since they're 2-0. And the Sixers are starting Tuesday with a lot of championship aspirations. Right now, it's a good time to be a member of the city of Philadelphia. Fan of their sports teams. Continue the magic journey. And everyone right now, enjoy it. Enjoy this run that this team is on. Let's have some fun. Our expectations can be high, but let's enjoy it day by day, take it day by day, and enjoy every single second of it. Because right now, this is a fun ride, and there's still a lot to play for. You got 8 wins left until you're world champions. Let's not look too far. Take it day by day. Your first task is to get at least 1 win in these first 2 games in San Diego. And you have a really good shot at winning 1 game, possibly even 2, with Aaron Nola and Zack Wheeler on the mound. Your hitting, continue to do what they do. Your pitching, continue to do what they do. So let's see what happens. And for the Padres, like I said, both of these teams, no one expected them to get this far. No one. We got to see. What happens. It's going to be a fun series. It definitely is. Cherish it. Enjoy it. I'm still not going to do predictions. I don't do that. I do a day-by-day process. But right now, the feeling about this Phillies team is good. It feels good. Let's see if that feeling continues going down the stretch. Game 1 tomorrow, 8 o'clock. I want to see more. I want to see more playoff baseball. I want this train to continue rolling. Day by day, try to get at least one win in these first 2 games. Then you're back in Philadelphia for that round 45+ thousand crowd at Citizens Bank Park. Cheering your asses down, having your back, and taunting the other team with no let up. So let's see what happens. Man, oh man. So let's get to the comment feed here before we end this off. So, tick, 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 I'm waiting from Scott. How are you doing, Ian? I don't deserve this, says, as a Nationals fan, it's going to hurt watching Soto and Harper in the NLCS. Wow. So you got some things there. We got Chris here, the Braves fan in the chat, saying, congrats on your 5-game series W versus the Braves. Coming from a Braves lifelong fan, I am rooting for the Phillies. I truly enjoy your team. A lot of honorable players. Well, thank you there, Chris. Sean says, magic number is 1. Have to win 1 game at Petco to get home field. Darvish kills us. So I'm leaning towards game 2 versus Blake Snell. Definitely a good call there, Sean. Still, yeah, win 1 game. You got to win 1 game in San Diego. Yu Darvish has looked very solid in these first 2 games in the postseason that he's pitched. But who knows? Maybe we'll get that Yu Darvish game where he struggles. Got to see. Against these type of pitchers for San Diego, you got to work the pitch count. You got to get into that bullpen. Get him out of the game early. That's what you got to do. And this Phillies lineup is definitely capable of that. We saw it against the Braves. Let's see how it works against the Padres. Mentioned you about 3 weeks ago. I said the Phillies offense is very scary. If your offense wakes up and they're insanely scary, and they woke up. Good luck, Phillies. Thank you there, Chris. Scott says, I believe our pitching and the offense will lead the Phillies to win. The defense has to be outstanding, and the Phillies cannot give the Padres extra outs. Exactly. What is in the Phillies' favor is that Wheeler and Nola will be able to pitch twice. The Padres pitching Snell twice will definitely be a plus for the Phillies. So let's see what happens. Maybe Bryce Harper, getting that little bit of animosity. Okay, I'm going up against the guy that broke my hand. I'm going to hit some couple of bombs off of him. Little petition for Alvarado. That was such a fun weekend. It definitely was, man. Scott says his gut tells me the Phillies win in 6. Winning in San Diego with Nola on the mound. Game 7? No, Game 7. You don't want to. Yeah. We got to see what happens here. The most important task right now is winning one of these first 2 games in San Diego. And then getting back to Philadelphia for that home field advantage. We got to see what happens here, everyone. I'm excited for it. I'm sure you guys are excited for it. So definitely stay tuned for everything that is going down with this series. So do not forget to leave a like in the like section down below. Same thing with the comments. Don't forget to leave one of those. Check the description out. BrodesMedia Painted Lines. I recommend all of that. Also, hit the subscribe button. It goes a very long way. Join the TTP Sports family. And also use the code TTP Sports. $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. It goes a very long way. It's a great deal. Do not pass that up. Use it for anything you can think of. Upcoming Phillies home games. Upcoming Eagles games, Sixers games, Flyers games. It's a great deal. Don't pass it up. Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight's stream. I see you there. Sean, Phillies have to play small ball well to win this series. Petco Park is still pitcher friendly. Yeah, we got to see what happens. Definitely. So, thank you, everyone, for joining once again. And I